Alright, so that was it for where we left off. Switch back to this window. So you guys are back in the kind of storage room area where you were, you know, resting earlier. You don't necessarily need to rest now, but at least you're back in that room anyway. And as far as the map, you guys covered kind of most of the southwest part of it up towards the northwest area before you retreated. But there's still, you know, plenty of spaces you haven't explored yet. So, all right, that's where we are. What are you guys doing?
Way back, okay, baby. Yeah, there you are.
That's the map.
We'll lead on. I need to expand my map, honey.
Alright, you want to head up north there? Up here?
Yeah, whatever you want to do, baby.
Alright.
If you would, move Alice along with you guys too, just so that she's caught up.
So I guess we'll head up this way.
Alright. Before you get too close there, that one, give me a second to get my maps loaded. Alright, you brought your torch back with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, let me reveal some of that area here. Oops. I always forget to turn on masking mode and I just end up moving the map. Almost turned off the whole mask, that would have screwed things up. Alright, so this, you can see from where you are anyway, the torchlight kind of glowing into this room here, but it's a massive room, the largest you've seen in here so far. Steep escarpments divide the room. On both sides of it there are these cliffs, basically. You're on the lower level, and to your right, directly ahead of you, that you can see up there on the right on the map, is a steep cliff, about 8 or 10 feet. With some stairs that lead up towards it, up to that top ledge there. And then same kind of thing on the left side, there's another steep cliff. The carved stone stairs lead up there to both ledges there. There's two, you can barely see them from here, but just kind of peeking around the corner, you can see two large stone tables that stand in the middle section, the kind of long tables there, along with a pair of old braziers, or braziers. A small table stands on the eastern ledge that you can see up there above. You can see just skeletal remains everywhere. At least a dozen dead dwarf shapes, some gnome shapes, and then some larger ogres, or orcs rather. That this obviously was the room of a pretty major battle that occurred in here before. As you're approaching, though, you notice kind of over where these same skeletons are, you notice multiple ghostly glittering images in the center of the cavern. There's squads of dwarves that were holding shields facing the entrance to the south, facing you. You see one of them lower a shield to shout off to the north, and a ghostly arrow sinks into his neck and he slumps into a heap as the remaining 5 dwarves around him hold a phalanx. Massive ghostly club swings down through the roof of them, sending them flying up through the air where they dissipate into nothingness. And to the north through this room, you see 2 tunnels that lead out of that room, out of this great cavern there. And there's a very faint, glittering, greenish color coming from both. There doesn't appear to be anything moving in this room, apart from those ghostly images that have now disappeared.
Alright, well, which tunnel do you want to go check out?
Let's go to the western or eastern one
that
first to
one
see
or that one?
Yeah, how about the eastern one?
Okay. So,
So you're walking up through and going up the stairs there to the right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Rotating Alice's token. There we go.
Now that we are totally in here with a better view, is there anything moving that I can see from my view? Now, because I can see better to the western, northwestern area.
Roll a perception check.
Okay.
Oh, I meant to make a primer on which skills to roll on the tower and which ones not to.
Yeah, I just need to remember about it because you've told us that before. I just forget sometimes.
It's fine, and really, you guys end up rolling so much of it in the tower that it kind of takes away some of the tangibility of it. For me, anyway, if I were the player, that's probably how I would feel about it. So I want you guys to be able to see your rolls too. You know, at least a significant portion of the time. And the only time that it really matters the thing is that when it does matter, it matters a lot. The rest of the time, it doesn't matter at all. So you know, it's just something that you guys might get more. Get to see how well the results is versus how the narrative plays out to that, or if you roll really badly, how the narrative plays out to that, and so on. But anyway, so with that though, you look over off to the left there, and up on the cliff to the left, you do see just barely. You see movement of something. You see a dark gray shoulder, like the skin. From it's a long ways away. We're talking 55 feet ish, 55, 60 feet back there. So it's quite a ways away. So it's, you know, especially in this dim light with just the torchlight kind of just barely getting over there, you were able to kind of catch something with some patchy reddish hair and a dark gray shoulder.
Okay.
And there's kind of a rock back there. There's a couple of large stalagmites sticking up out of the ground there, and it ducked behind one of them.
Okay. And that was on the cliff or on the low level that we're on?
On the cliff above.
Upper level?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, I'll draw an arrow for you.
Okay. So general. I think I know the general idea of what you're talking about.
Yeah. I just drew it with Alice though, accident, but that's fine. You see the line there? I mean, delete it.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I drew it in a spot you.
It's okay.
But anyways, yeah, there's up here.
So, okay, yeah, just up on the ledge. Okay.
Yep. Up there.
Yep. All right. Well, I can see it on Becky's map now. Okay.
Yeah. I just made a red one. I pointed the arrow the wrong direction, but that is where it's at.
Okay.
Where the start of that is.
All right. Well, we're gonna have
tunnel. You can't really see the entrance there very well, but here, the other tunnel is there.
Okay. All right, babe. We're gonna have to go check that out. What do you think?
All right.
I'm assuming those are tables, so I can step over those.
Or
do I need to go around?
Size tables. I mean, you can step over them. It's a little awkward. You know, the same as stepping on the table would be anywhere else, except they're just a little bit lower to the ground, so you can step on the bench and then up onto the table and so on.
Right.
Are you trying to be careful or quiet at all, or you just stomp it right through?
It's gonna be quieter. I mean, I'm sure he obviously knows I'm coming. It knows I'm coming at it, but still.
It clearly saw you and moved out of the way, so
yeah.
I mean, it's not very surprisable anyway. I'm just giving you the.
Yeah, I'm just also being careful so I don't fall and break my fucking head open. So, since I decided to go over the tables instead. So.
Right. You just move it at half speed. It's not really a challenge. It's not something you gotta roll for or anything. As you get a little bit closer, though, go ahead and both of you actually roll a perception now.
Okay.
Westra, kind of moving around the tables, you keep, kind of checking back on Alice, and you're not really seeing much beyond that. Just your attention is kind of on her. She's still a little bit nervous in this place. But Drost, you were kind of drawn to this in the first place, and you knew where it was when you first walked up, so you're actually able to kind of catch a better look of it as you moved around. It keeps slinking back around behind the stalagmite there, but now that you guys have both kind of spread out a little bit, it can't really hide too well. So it's standing closer to your side where you're able to see it, but it looks to be another long dead dwarf that's holding a chunk of relatively fresh meat in one hand. Both arms are kind of dropped down to its side, and it's just kind of staring wide-eyed at you in surprise. The chunk of meat has a lot of the dark brownish fur on it. It looks like it's probably, maybe a calf of one of the bugbears that have been in here. It's not really responding. It's got kind of a deer in the headlights kind of a look.
And there's nothing else around. There's no more of these things or anything else moving that I can see around.
It's the only one you see, and it doesn't seem to be making any aggressive moves towards you. It looks very similar to the three that you guys saw in that other room earlier.
Okay. Well, then, since we're on this side, do you want to check out the tunnel on this side, honey, and then go to the other side? Because we don't obviously need to mess with that thing. It's not doing anything. So.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Then I'll follow you. So I guess we'll just go to the tunnel just right up above here.
Well, where she's at right now, the torchlight actually reveals, the rest of that hallway up there anyway. So you can see that the... it takes it a second. I didn't realize it takes that long for the map to reveal. But you look up, and through the end of this hallway, you see some kind of rough-hewn stairs. And then the tunnel kind of turns into a T intersection there.
Okay. Go ahead and lead, honey, for a second.
Okay.
Or you can keep leading, I don't care.
Alright. Well, I guess we'll go up this way.
Okay. As soon as you get up there, you can actually see, as you're approaching, you're kind of emitting the light source at the moment since you're carrying the torch, but there is another very dim light source coming from the left side. And as you get a little bit closer and come up kind of just around the corner there, you see that there's another door on that side, and there's light from underneath. There's about an inch and a half gap beneath the door, and there's flickering light of maybe a brazier or a torch or something inside, and you're hearing familiar voices in there. This sounds like the same room you guys were on the other side of earlier. This is the kind of noises that are coming from inside.
You want to just bypass that room and go to the right, or do you want to go in that room?
Go ahead and roll a stealth check for me, both of you.
Yeah.
I'll get back. Or back
All
in
right,
roll
well,
for you, that's fine.
Oh, I'm coming. Yeah. Skip that one for now, babe. Unless we need to come back to it.
Ooh. Even with disadvantage, that's a much better roll than you probably would have gotten otherwise. Alright. Yeah, you guys are feeling pretty confident that you're able to be quiet in this room, whereas the other room had a lot of those small pebbles and broken shells from the kind of pond, the dark pool on the inside. This one seems smooth, like it's been swept through. So anyways, yeah, you guys are kind of up around the corner. The left wall has a door in it, and it seems like that group of bugbears that were talking. Do you remember what they were saying? Did you take note of that, Westra?
No, I missed that.
So
I forgot to write that.
There were at least 4 or 5 that Drost was able to pick out, so assuming that Drost had told you this, different voices in there. 2 of them were talking back and forth loud enough that he was able to lift up what they were saying. One was complaining about having to follow the spider's orders, and the other one said something along the lines of better following the orders than being fed to the spider's beast.
That's right.
Great. Beasts.
Okay, you guys heading off to the right then? You are seeing, actually, sorry, from here, I mentioned the light on the left, so you had the, kind of light, normal kind of natural orangish light coming from the west. Well, from the east, you're seeing a very sickly, flickering greenish light that it kind of gets brighter, and then it fades, and then 30 seconds later it'll get bright again, and rinse and repeat, coming from the right side. But you're not hearing any noise apart from the waves. The waves actually are much, much louder up here.
Did you rinse and repeat?
That was fucking Damon Carvey, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame he's not funny anymore.
I know. Nobody's fucking funny anymore, dude.
With him, I think it really, as soon as he got big into being, a family man and that kind of stuff, which is totally fair, I understand that, but he started getting more and more family friendly with this comedy, and unfortunately his brand of family friendly comedy is not funny.
No. Yep.
But we still have chopping broccoli. Alright, sorry.
No, I want to watch that again.
Roll.
God damn it,
Okay,
we have to
you
go
guys
find
go
this.
stealth. I think I have that. I'll get it to you guys.
Nice.
Alright, so you peek around the corner there. From this vantage point, you can actually still see quite a bit. So give me one sec here. You see workbenches, what looks like the end of a great, just massive bellows. You know what a bellows is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you see the end of a just huge one. What's that?
It's like a big accordion thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, for blacksmithing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the giant
Stoke the
accordion
fire.
thing you use to kind of push air into a forge.
Yeah.
You see the end of that, and you see the source of this green kind of flickering coloration that's coming from. in this room, well, first you see the blast furnace and a giant mechanical bellows powered by a water wheel. And that water wheel, there's a channel of water that's running through it. That water wheel turns, and the furnace keeps going up and down and kind of blowing. It would be dust and ash if this, had happened recently, but since it's been doing this forever, it's, for 500 plus years, so you're not seeing much dust and ash being blown up. But what you are seeing, though, floating around, is above those and kind of patrolling the room in a big circle is a floating skull that's engulfed in just green flames that are just constantly flickering. It doesn't seem to be taking any notice or looking at anything else. It just it's floating itself around in circles. I mean, it faces the direction that it's going, but it keeps floating itself around in circles throughout the whole room. And then off to, you can just barely see it from this corner roll of perception.
Did that roll, G?
Yep.
Okay. Alright, thank you.
That'll take a second to reveal because it's a big spot. Probably should have rebooted before I ran this. There we go. Alright, give it a sec there and it'll show for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. On the right side, you see the tunnel off to the right?
Yeah.
In front of that, you see rows and rows, at least 2 rows deep that you can see from here. Obviously, the light isn't great. You can get a little bit better view of it as this flaming skull floats around it. But you see a bunch of dwarf-sized cocoons that are near you on the tunnel on your side. Similar spider webbing style cocoons that are about the size of the previous dwarf that you saw earlier. But over on that right side are 2 rows of at least 6 that you can tell from here, undead dwarves that are just standing there not moving. Just looking straight ahead, not moving, kind of blocking that doorway over there. I'll go and reveal the... Actually, from here you can see 8 of them, actually. And then there is that green skull that's floating around inside the room here. That is just patrolling its way around. It does actually, as you're here, in fact, roll another stealth check for me just on Frost. You're the only one that's out there far enough. Alright, it actually kind of goes right past, does not appear to have noticed you, but it kind of moves off to the south, and now the light is a little bit dimmer. It's not filling the hallway anymore, does not appear to have noticed you.
Okay.
There's webbing all over the room, just bits of this hanging, threads all over the place, and then 2 rows of dwarves. And in front of those zombie dwarves there, you see 2, just, you kind of peeked your head around the corner from where you are, you can see just barely, 2 much larger corpses on the ground in front of the dwarves, the 2 rows of dwarves.
Up to you. You're in the front.
Alright, what happens when I'm sure the skull is still moving, but does it seem to be turning and looking at me when I get that close?
Were you trying to move quietly using your stealth roll, or are you trying to get its
Yeah.
attention?
No, I'm just trying to quietly move around and see if it's noticing me.
I
Moving
mean,
as far as I did, and
yeah.
I'm not sure exactly where it is now, but
Yeah,
okay.
it had moved. The big square there, or the rectangle that it just moved down to, is the forge itself. The bellows are what's above
Right.
it. The water wheel is what's in the channel. But it doesn't appear to have noticed you there, unless you're trying to get its attention.
No. Okay.
Alright, what are we doing?
Well, should we try to go to see if we can get to the tunnel on the south, or what?
Well, the tunnel in the south, if you look, it connects to there.
Oh,
So that's the only tunnel that we can really go through.
That's what that
Okay.
thing looks like. Just a floating green skull. It is still moving, and where it is, it's going to be finishing its loop shortly, so you've got a few seconds to decide whether you're trying to do anything beyond it seeing you, because it will see you. So you get one quick reaction here if you're doing anything, otherwise it's about to see you.
Alright, well, then I guess I will just move over this way and wait for it to come, because I'm assuming it's going to see me, but I'm assuming we have to get through where those guys are, so. Ready, honey? Because we're about to be ready no matter what. Or it's about to happen no matter what, so.
Okay. Well,
Alright, go ahead and roll your initiative.
I was going to try to sneak around, but I guess it's not going to work, so.
You could have at least tried to hide and then sneak attacked, but now you don't have it anymore. If you were going to, you didn't necessarily know if it was, going to attack or anything, but that's
Yeah, I had no idea,
Yeah.
so I should have done better. I should have assumed, knowing that we're going to have to fight, I should have planned that better, but.
the zombies so far have still not moved, and well, it's Ross' turn first anyway, so we'll go from there. Oh, never mind. Got a crappy initiative roll.
That sucks.
Right, but we're still starting with you actually, because the zombies have not moved so far.
Okay. Alright, then I'm going to. I'm trying to think, damn it, that's what I've been.
I would not be able to get this one for sure.
Super Mario RPG.
Damn, that's impressive.
Yes! It took me a minute, man.
Yeah,
I almost thought I wasn't going to get it. I almost thought it was 8-bit for a minute, but.
It kind of sounds like it. It does have that feel, obviously intentionally.
Yeah. Alright, well, from where I'm at, I'm going to see if I can throw a dagger at Skullboy.
Okay. And it hits.
Okay.
So it sinks in, and like you see it kind of chip off of it doesn't sink in rather, but chips off of the cheekbone. You see where it kind of deflected off of it. It kind of, for some reason, looks like it didn't do as much damage as you thought it should.
Okay.
Bonus attack.
And you're gonna. Yeah. You're gonna want to use your axe, honey. I'm assuming it must be magical, so.
And it hits.
I already figured as much.
Mm-hmm.
Since, it's a giant flaming skull.
Yeah, it's kind of pretty self-explanatory. So.
Skulls don't do a lot of floating around and, glowing green on their own. Yeah, it also hits, but same thing. It kind of feels like it just didn't hurt it as much as you feel like it should have.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But if you're taking...
And yeah.
Okay. Okay. The zombies still have not moved, but the skull immediately notices you as you kind of, left hand and then right hand fling these daggers that spin through the air and then chip off of its face. Well, what would be its face if it wasn't a skull? It is going to look at you, and its mouth then is going to open wide. There's no sound coming from this thing beyond the fire. Is going to scream towards you silently, and out of its mouth comes this massive glowing fireball that is going to fly straight at you.
Can I do my dodge, or does it work on that?
Which
Or missile attacks?
Which one?
Uncanny dodge. Does that work on?
You can, yeah.
Range?
You actually got, so it's a DC 13 dex save, and you succeeded anyway. You rolled a 16.
Okay.
So you actually got half damage from it anyway. Let's look at it real quick. I think it still has...
I don't even know. Oh, okay. I didn't know if it would still work on top of that.
Well, most things don't. This one does. Okay, so bring up your uncanny dodge real quick, and I'm going to explain how it works.
Okay. Alright.
Alright, so you see in there where it says 5th level attacker hits you, you see an attack, or with the attack you can use your reaction to have the attack's damage against you.
Yeah.
That verbiage is very specific. What it's saying there is, exactly that if you, whatever the damage would be, you take half of that. Most abilities, instead of saying that, will say resist or resistance. And what that means is that resistance is still half, but the difference is that resistance cannot stack. So if you had two different things that gave you resistance, you don't take a quarter, you still just take half. Well, with this one, even if you have resistance, you can still take half of that, which means you would normally take a quarter. In this case, you succeeding on the the save is a half, and then you would take another half from there again. But it's still a shit ton of damage, so be prepared for that. But go ahead and click your uncanny dodge so that you have the effect on yourself.
Okay, so click the effect now.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, you're lagging there. Okay, I hit it.
There it is. Okay, cool. And Westra, for this, I'll give you a chance just as a reaction because of where you were. You saw this coming. Do you want to use your reaction to put your shield up?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and click your shield to put it on, just in case.
Oh, that's right. Forgot I actually have that on here now.
Okay. Oh, you got fucking lucky, dude.
Ah, there it is.
You took 8 instead of 35.
Ooh.
So 35 in half, and then in half again, you took 8. But so basically, this glowing orange ball of fire flings out, explodes directly on Drost, and the fireball, the explosion from it blasts around the corner. Wester, you kind of grab your shield and throw it up in front of your face just in time, so you kind of don't get hit by any of the debris from the explosion. And you're not harmed by it at all. And as it explodes right at Dross, though, you kind of just barely jump out of the way and turn your head and kind of cover your bring your arm up to cover your face with it. You're still burned, but not too seriously with it. Wester's turn.
All right. Well.
Got that fucker up, baby.
Yeah, you both got the impression from that, though. This thing is very dangerous.
So I go. Is he still moving, or is it just floating?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he did continue to move, actually. 10, 15, 20, 30. Thanks for reminding me. He actually ends right here, so he's just outside the tunnel from you. He hasn't appeared to have noticed you yet.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, move quietly, baby. You might be able to get sneak attack on it.
I don't get sneak attack.
Well, no, not sneak attack, but an advantage roll, maybe, if he doesn't see you coming.
He's not flanking.
Well,
she could get advantage if he doesn't know that she's there.
Yeah.
Which would depend on a quick stealth roll. So.
That's what I'm saying, babe.
alright, so do a stealth roll then?
If you're trying to be quiet. If you don't want him to know that you're coming.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I definitely don't want him to notice.
Worth a shot, honey.
Okay. You're pretty confident that you're being quiet, that you're able to kind of move. Just because of the distraction of the explosion, and the fire itself still makes noise. It's still kind of roiling and burning in there. You feel like you're kind of able to kind of hide yourself behind that.
Okay. Alright. So, back here. And one-handed. No, whoops. Why didn't I go?
You're leaving your shield up? You gotta put your shield back up again. Because remember, every time it comes back around your turn, it'll drop the shield.
Yeah.
So you're holding your shield in your left hand and Hugh in your right hand?
Yeah, now is that a bonus action?
What do you
The shield?
No, that's a reaction.
So, like...
Sorry, no, putting your... Sorry, no, it's neither. Using your shield or putting it up or down doesn't take anything. It's a free action. It doesn't
Okay,
cost you
so,
anything.
like...
You can just
If it's on, it's boost your AC level.
Yeah.
Okay, so, like, if I hit him with two-handed, and then put it...
If he hits you on the same round, your shield won't be up.
Yeah, it's basically you decide at the beginning of your round whether you're going to have your shield up or not. Otherwise,
No, you never...
two-handed and throw your shield up, and that wouldn't be fair.
No, did the monster already go this round?
Yeah.
Because he already threw at me. So that means this round, if you want to, honey, you could hit him two-handed because you can put your... Because then next time, would she be able to put her... No, because he would hit before her again.
Yeah, exactly. And it would mean that he would get to attack.
So it's up to you, honey.
Yeah, so if you want the shield bonus, the extra 2 AC, then you'd have to attack one-handed. It's the same way that for Ketis, for example, that I make him use his stuff. Basically, if he's using anything one-handed, like if he's using his spells with his left hand, then he can only use his sword with one-handed rather than two-handed. Same kind of thing.
Okay.
Damn it! What is that?
That's bad news, is what that is. You go to swing the axe down at him, and it's just still moving, and it's a small target. It's the size of a human skull, so we're talking a small bowling ball. floating through, human height, let's say, so it's, a little bit above even where you stand. You go to try to bring the axe down, but the kind of distraction of all the fire and all the stuff happening all at once, you just barely miss, but you bring it down, and it kind of cleaves just through the corner of your boot. It doesn't hurt, like you don't actually end up hurting yourself, but you see where it slashed through that, and then the haft of it is scratched a good kind of not a hole, but a decent rip basically through the chain, because the haft of it has kind of a pommel stick on the end of it, a sharp part that is scratched through the chain, and now you basically have a hole in your boot and a scratch through the chain on your midsection. It didn't hurt yourself, luckily, but you'll definitely need to get that fixed. But that's it for your first attack. You still have your second attack, and then if you want to, you have a bonus action.
Okay. Gosh dang it, why does I keep doing that?
Oh, you need to move.
Oh wait, did she get inspiration for the
Oh yeah.
Yep. Do you want to use it?
Well, she still has a
It's up
second
to you.
attack either way, so definitely
Yeah.
use a second attack at least. But she could, use inspiration or save it for later, however she wants to go with that.
Because we might. I forgot about inspiration too. Might want it for this fight.
I'll tell you, this is not the boss fight, and there are much harder fights. I'm just telling you.
Yeah,
I wouldn't normally. I just want you to make sure you guys are prepared, because especially because it's only the two of you, even with an NPC, this could be very dangerous as well. This place.
Right.
Yeah, so I go wait.
Good
Just
thinking.
do my second.
Okay, go ahead
There we go.
and it hits.
Yes.
So this time, you kind of, where it came down and cleaved through your boot, you're just angry, and you feel kind of a draft through the chain on your midsection and just swing right back up in an upward arc. It kind of careens in through the bottom of the skull, just cracks against the jaw. You're looking at basically where the spine would connect to the back of the skull. But it kind of crashes right through it. It looks like it actually did serious damage, where you saw that the knives kind of just tinked right off of it earlier when Dross threw them. But it definitely hurt it pretty badly. So, what are you doing now? You still have a bonus action. Oh shit! You were supposed to have had it. Fuck. All right. I don't want to retcon it because this fight will take a long time. But you would have technically had advantage on the first attack, the one that you missed from.
Oh yeah, that was the whole point of the stealth roll.
Yeah. And it was decent actually. So what we'll do is I'll just give you one more swing of it, and we'll count it as if it was a third attack, so that we don't undo the mechanical effect of having ripped the armor.
Okay.
On the boot. But go ahead and roll one more that would have been the advantage roll. And if you miss, you miss. That's it.
Roll with advantage or no?
No.
No, just...
Okay.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
so you kind of cleave this one up through it where it hits into the bottom of the jaw, and it kind of knocks him up out of your reach. So you don't expect to be able to hit it, but it almost immediately snaps back down as you're bringing it back downward in a downward strike this time, and crack it right in the side of the face, right where the jaw connects, where the mandible is, and just cracks it straight to the ground. This time even harder than the first hit. It clacks away from your axe, and where the axe doesn't really cut into it, it feels like it's a solid magical being. It bounces off the ground, like a curb stomp almost, just smacks against the ground and bounces right back up again, and turns around, and the flames just burst up around it in this bright green flame right in front of your face. Is that for your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Oops. There we go. Cool. All right. Alice's turn. She's still kind of back around the corner. She kind of peeks around here, and she's trying to be very careful because she's aware that there were noises coming from that door behind. So you see her trying to be quiet, but she, shouts to you as quietly as she can anyway. What do you guys want me to do?
Well, it's probably immune to
That's
fire,
what I'm
right?
thinking,
Because it's on fire. So anything that she can do that doesn't involve fire, I guess.
Would her, I guess we'd have to find out her colorblind effect, possibly, or is that area of effect? Because we're close to that thing too.
It is AoE, yeah, and there is
Okay.
a cone that she could use that would not hit the two of you.
Okay. And if she gets too close, then no. What do you think? Just have her skip, because if she gets in and hits it with the staff, then she wouldn't be able to move back without getting an
Yeah.
opportunity attack on her. So tell her
Whichever.
stay. What?
Even if it was immune to something, that'd be one thing. But if something is resistant to it, like your daggers, for example, it still hurts it. It just does half damage, which is better than 0 damage. So just keep that in mind.
Alright, well, if she tried it, would it... Yeah, well, what do you think? You want to have her try?
Yeah, might as
Have
well.
her, yeah, have her hit it with a fireball and see what happens.
Okay, so before she does anything else, as you guys are kind of chattering back and forth, trying to give her idea of what to do. Remember, a turn rather is 6 seconds, so you don't have a lot of time to be in character, talking back in narrative rather, talking back and forth about giving her instructions. So while she's waiting for you, she is going to. You see her skin begin to glow a little bit, and this. Oh, that isn't the proper one. I need to fix the auto sounds on that to make some of these suit better. But you see her skin begin to glow a little bit. And, well, actually, neither of you would know what that looks like. Is that not stealth? Nope. Alright. There we go. But anyway, her skin begins to glow a little bit. And then she says, okay, what? Quick.
Hit it with fireball, please.
Because it's such a hectic moment, she's not going to be able to question what you've asked, so she backs up and throws a fireball.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I am right next to her. Thank you, honey. Or it.
Let's see, so Westra succeeded. The
Yes.
Flame Soul succeeded. All three of you succeeded, so you'll still take half damage. This is still the same turn that Frost. No, it is. Shit. Yeah, so it's still the same turn. You can't use. Wait, Uncanny Dodge can use it as many times, or does it once per turn? Oh, it's your reaction, so yeah, it's once per turn, which means you've already used it, so you can't Uncanny Dodge again. All right. So she steps back and throws a fireball out that explodes against the thing, knocking it back just slightly. Which, as soon as it explodes off of that, you both kind of try to cover yourselves. Wester, you throw your shield up to block as much of it as you can. But you're just bathed, both of you, in just burning pain. And the room is lit up very loudly. There's been 2 large explosions. And remember, the noises that were behind you were potentially not aware of you before. They almost certainly are now. So it's been less than 6 seconds total so far, but just keep that in mind. Alice goes, I'm sorry, and then that's it for her turn. It is back to Dross' turn.
Okay.
The zombies have yet to move. They don't appear to be too interested in you.
Alright.
How badly are you guys beat up? Dross is about half. Wester's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, what
Alright. See if I can hit Skull Dude.
So he just got hit in the side of the face with in his, what would be his left cheek, because he was facing Westra, with a fireball and knocked him back slightly. So you kind of are right behind him now. You're at the back of his skull.
Alright. Then see if I can hit him with the main hand.
And it hits. You trying to stab him with your
No.
hands? Okay.
Yeah, and I do get sneak attack since I'm the only thing
Yep,
next
if
to him,
you're
right?
running within 5 feet, yeah.
Alright.
So same thing, the stab it feels like it didn't do as much damage as it should have. It still hit really hard, but resistance works as half damage and is resistant to whatever you're doing, is how it works that.
Piercing or slashing or whatever,
It's
yeah.
specifically piercing that is non-magical, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And resistant to other things too, but at least that, he's taking half damage from it. But it still
Okay.
was a good hard hit. You can see where you stabbed him, though, that a pretty significant crack is running down the back of the skull now. Maybe where his head was banged against the ground by Wester's axe strike, and then the fireball, like the skull itself rather doesn't look like it's staying together very well.
Okay. Try to aim for the same area.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it hits.
Boo.
That feels like even though you hit, it didn't do any damage at all.
Yeah. Alright. Then I'm
It
going to...
rounds down, so it was a 0 total.
Yeah, you can't do half damage,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that
Okay,
makes
your
sense. Yeah, I'm going to move back a little bit and then I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, you can disengage for no, don't need to disengage rather because you tried to hit him. So, all right.
Yeah.
It is the skull's turn. It is going to turning. It's still kind of, you know, as you kind of cracked into the back of the skull, it barely even paid any attention to you. It's still focused very clearly on Westra. Is going to open its mouth again, and another ball of fire is going to roll out of it, but this one is much larger. Like, it actually fills the space between Westra and the skull, and the skull's even slightly inside of it, but it doesn't seem to be noticing it. Roll a dex save on Westra. Oops. Ignore that. If I drop it on, it automatically rolls it for you guys, and I'd rather you guys be able to make your own rolls and stuff where it makes sense to do so. So instead of dropping it on, you don't have time to dodge out of the way. You kind of pull your shield up in front of your face, but you don't really make you don't have time enough to jump out of the way, and it doesn't end up burning that much. You end up kind of hiding your face behind the shield and closing your eyes just in time as it doesn't explode. It just slides over you and then fades into the wall and continues. There's no explosion, no boom. There's just another fiery, burning pain just rolling over you. And you know your leather is badly singed already. You barely notice the difference for this one. It doesn't appear to have hurt you too badly. It is now your turn.
Okay. So I have to do this every turn, right? The shield?
Assuming that you
Shield
want
every
to.
other
If you go, I mean, you don't have to. You can just go two-handed if you want to, just deal with having a 2 less AC. Which, by the way, so far, he hasn't used anything that your AC would have mattered for. Spells don't matter for that.
Oh, okay.
I've described you kind of hiding your head behind your shield, but that's just narrative. So far, the shield has not come into effect for this so far.
Okay.
Now, of course, in-game, Wester wouldn't necessarily know that, but, so you can really meta-knowledge that portion of it, but if you wanted to go two-handed, you certainly can, and it wouldn't have mattered in this case.
Okay.
Yeah, so far.
In general, mechanically, most spells don't use your AC, depending on the type. So there are a lot to do. That's not fair to say it's not most. It's just at least the 2 that you've seen him do so far, it would not have mattered. Those were, of course, like saving throw-based dex saves.
Alright, well, since he's already got a crack, I'm going to try to use it two-handed and see if I just can't make that crack bigger.
Okay. With you.
So you grab it's called a gauge thing. The gauge is that strap. You throw it over your back and just grab and hold Hugh in both hands and just bring it down in a hard chop as hard as you can, and it kind of cleaves straight into the skull. Go ahead and roll your damage on it.
Dang it! Is that a 1?
Wait. Oh shit! You got really fucking lucky there, because what you rolled.
You double rolled, right?
No, she rolled a 1, and she gets a re-roll because any 1s or 2s,
Yeah.
because of Great Weapon Mastery, she gets to re-roll. So she rolled a 1.
That's what I meant as reroll. Sorry.
Yeah. So she rolled a 1, and then the re-roll rolled a 10. So she rolled the minimum, and then the re-roll got a maximum. But that plus the 5 from your modifier, where you bring it down, and the axe itself doesn't crack through it, but as soon as the kind of force from the axe coming down pushes it down to the ground, and the head just smacks against the floor, and the skull explodes. It's the green fire is still blowing up and billowing up around it, but the skull is just in pieces all over the floor now.
Sweet.
Is he toast?
He's toast.
Okay.
So far. So, at least anyway, roll. Both of you roll an Arcana check. Same roll. Neither of you are particularly familiar with this, but it appears both of you get kind of an uncomfortable feeling about the green flame still being there.
All right.
Alice comes walking up by the 2 of you, and she comes up towards Wester and starts trying to help pat out some of the little small flames that are still burning on her clothes. Going, I'm sorry. And then kind of starts to walk over to Dross, do the same thing, and then just walks back.
Okay. All right. Do we have something we can get some water from? There's water running up here, right?
Yeah,
to the
there's water.
northwest.
There's water going through that channel there, and there is still all of the zombies are still over, kind of just standing there. Like they're alive in air quotes, of course, in that they're moving, but they're just kind of standing in place and kind of slowly meandering left and right.
Okay. Is there anything around that we can? Anything around that I can? Actually, I have a water skin, don't I? Yeah.
Roll a
I can.
roll a investigation.
Okay.
Yeah, there are buckets all over the place.
All right.
I mean, this is a mine. This is where they were actually processing some of the ore and smelting it down.
All right. I'm gonna grab one and go get some water in it.
Okay. So
I'm
you
gonna
fill it
come
up?
back and dump it on the fire when I fill it up.
Okay. You pour it over it, and as soon as you pour the water over it, the fire starts to flicker a little bit, but doesn't go out, and then just immediately returns back to the same as it was.
Okay. All right. We gotta do something with this son of a bitch before I find something else to go into. So.
Alice is moved away.
Is there
As you've been looking around, she's kind of over here peeking at the zombies, kind of getting closer and closer and looking at them to see if they react.
All right. Is there anything around that I could close as a container, like investigating around, like anything that has a lid type of stuff,
You could probably do like 2 buckets.
or something like that? I don't know. Just anything I can possibly contain it in that has like a lid, something like that.
With a lid, there are some boxes of that style. The thing is, they're much too large for you to be able to do much with. I mean, if you were to try to pick it up and throw it in there, maybe, but not anything airtight for sure.
Okay. What are you thinking? We gotta do something with the son of a bitch.
Well, you could try to use like 2 buckets to like pick it up and toss it in the water.
Okay.
As long as it doesn't burn the buckets.
Yeah. If I try to scoop it up in one of the buckets, does it stay in there? Or does it burn through the bucket like immediately?
It catches the inside of the bucket on fire, but there's so much old coal dust and everything on there that it probably would have anyway. So, I mean, if you moved quickly, you could probably move it over. Is that what you're trying to do, is take it to the water?
Throw it in the water. Just drop the whole bucket in the water.
Okay.
Like, do with where it's not floating, you know what I mean?
Sure. All
Like,
right,
dunk it in the water.
Okay, so you dunk it in, and where you kind of put it under the surface, the little bits of skull that are still there. Remember, it's kind of shattered now. Kind of float out into the water and begin to float down the just a couple of small pieces of it down the channel. Remember, that channel is moving water the whole time. It's what's moving through that water wheel. But the skull itself, what remains of it, all those pieces still together, are still glowing green, even under the water.
Okay. Alright, well, what do you think? I think maybe just try to move as quick as we can.
Yeah.
Because that thing's going to try to find something else to go into, so. Alright, I hate to do it, but I gotta go AFK for a second. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Right, no problem. I'm gonna take a quick break too, actually. Quick break.
Alright, well, Jeremy's taking a break too. You would know I got a kid.